Lakers draft plans have been leaked as we are now just hours away from the Lakers making their second round selection following trading up and increasing their odds at a star player and a good player in the second round. Although the odds are slim, a draft report has leaked revealing the Lakers draft plans and the player in particular that they are targeting. We're going to break down exactly who that is and discuss what this means going forward. We also have some other interesting updates ahead of what's going to be a crazy next few hours for the Lakers. But folks, before we get into it all, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you guys are enjoying the continued support. And folks, a lot to go over today. There's been a lot of news. Obviously, the Austin Reaves stuff we covered in the last video, some rumblings about Herb Jones and Andrew Wiggins heading to LA. But what we know for sure is that the Lakers are going to be picking 45th, bearing another trade up, which is also possible. And it's going to be interesting to see what their next move is. And folks, we have some reports that have dropped just minutes ago, and it is surrounding one player in particular. There's a lot of reports here, but let's start with this. An article just dropped from, I believe it's the LA Times, revealing that the Lakers traded up to the 45th overall pick in order to zero in on Ryan Kalkbrenner. You can see this here. The Lakers have made a move to put themselves in a better position in the second round, moving up to the 45th pick and sending their 55th pick back. As we know, people around the league said the Lakers are trying to put themselves in a position to draft center Ryan Kalkbrenner out of Creighton University. He's older at 23, but he's 7'1" and averaged 19.4 points and 9 rebounds a game last year. And he shot 66% from the field and 34% from three. So, I mean, obviously, those are some very, very good stats. And we'll dive into, Kalkbrenner's stats and how he's looking. He has very high upside. And heading into the draft now, you got to hope that Ryan Kalkbrenner is available at the 45th overall pick. I wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers are continuing to, peruse the draft market to trade up even more to get Ryan, because he was projected not as a first rounder, but a very early second round pick. And it's very interesting. You see here, update: the Lakers are putting themselves in position per Brad Turner of the LA Times to draft Ryan Kalkbrenner. So it is very interesting. However, we do have a few different things here. Now, to temper expectations a little bit, Brett Siegel came out and tweeted 2 hours ago prior to this report from Brad Turner about Ryan Kalkbrenner that any team wanting Maxime Reynaud or Ryan Kalkbrenner, two notable big men who fell to the second round, will need to trade up within the first few picks on Thursday night. Two players drawing a wide range of interest: Jameer Watkins and Adu Thiero out of Arkansas. So, of course, within the first few picks, now the Lakers, they moved up from 55 to 45, and I think their ideal scenario would, of course, be Ryan. But there is still a lot of other options available. Now, is there a chance because of this report that they go ahead and they actually make a subsequent trade now again to try to move up closer to 35, maybe 34? Probably, but the problem with that is in order to get that close to the first round, you'd of course have to move future assets, because you have teams like the Celtics with the 32nd pick and teams in general that you would need to essentially move more, assets as opposed to just cash. And of course, the Lakers basically just moved up 10 picks in exchange for $2.5 million, which they can afford to do, especially now with, not that it's directly correlated, but new ownership with Mark Walters and all those different things. But let's dive into Ryan Kalkbrenner a little bit before we get into Roko Zakarski, who is another one. And you can see this here, quickly, before we dive into the actual stats. We know when the trade broke, the whole fandom should be behind it. Let's hope they get their guy. And a quick note I want to make that not a ton of people are talking about. The Lakers, according to Lakers Vino at least, they're one of the best teams in the NBA when it comes to drafting in the second round. We think about Max Christie a couple years ago. We think about all these different guys who the Lakers have hit on in the second round. And that's why it makes this trade a lot more exciting than we at least initially, would have thought, even though it's just 10 picks in the second round. As draft analysis, as the years go on and draft analysis gets better and better, of course, you're going to be able to scout players better and better in theory, but of course other teams are as well. And let's look at Ryan Kalkbrenner from Creighton. Now you can see this here. He averaged 19.2 points a game for Creighton in the Big East. I mean, folks, this is a serious prospect, and he averaged almost 20 a game. I mean, a very, very good rebounder, averaging, 9 rebounds a game, which is good for college, especially 2.7 blocks, averaged 3 blocks a year last year. And he's been in college. He ran through the whole 5 years there. This is a very, very intriguing player, and durable, played almost every game, 35 games every single year. He would be a perfect fit for the Lakers. Would he be the starting center? No, you wouldn't, assume that a 45th overall pick would be able to be capable of that. But there was times where, Kalkbrenner was seen as within the first round, and of course was a late first round pick. Some players have him, some draft analysts that did some research before this video, 20th, 25th on their big board. And at the end of the day, like, if Rob Pelinka and it's the scouting team found their guy in Ryan Kalkbrenner, I wouldn't put it behind them for them to go out and even make more trades to try to move up further, or just hope and pray that he is available at that number 45 pick. Now, I think other teams, like Brett Siegel said, are going to have their eyes on him. Like, his stats don't lie. He was very, very good. And of course, college stats can be deceiving at times. Of course, a lot of it's fit. He's a shooter as well. He shot 1.7 threes a game, which isn't a lot, but he can stretch the floor, would fit perfectly alongside Luka, would fit perfectly alongside LeBron James, all these different things, and even being a backup bench player. And you can look at the awards there on the side. Like, I don't think this is a player who necessarily would spend a crazy amount of time and just be stashed in the G League. He played college ball for 5 years in the Big East. He was a later prospect, and as a result, he is more NBA ready than a lot of these other guys. And in case you're curious about some of his history, as a junior, he averaged 13 points. He earned AAA Player of the Year and Class 3 All-State honors. He's a consensus 4-star recruit. Of course, played Creighton and chose Creighton over Stanford, Purdue, and Kansas, and then played all of his years throughout. And his senior season this last year was his best. He was named as a third-team All-American and won the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award, and the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, and the NABC Defensive Player of the Year award. So just awards everywhere for him, and it makes a ton of sense that the Lakers do trade up and are zeroing in on him. Again, the problem remains, though, tons of teams are zeroing in on him as well because he is an extremely good 7'1" guy who can shoot the ball. And there is the other possibility where they go for maybe an athletic 3-and-D wing player. I think their number one option is Ryan Kalkbrenner. They might have some contingency plans if he doesn't go through. Maybe they make another trade. Keep an eye out on that. We'll have a video as soon as it drops if that happens. But you can see here, I actually think the Lakers should go athletic 3-and-D wing with this pick unless they can get Maxime or Kalkbrenner. So if Ryan Kalkbrenner isn't available, maybe go for a 3-and-D wing here. Given LA's need at center, I think they can convince bigs like Sikarsky, Golden, Amari to become UFAs and then sign with us on a two-way. Will Rocco Sikarsky, let's dive into him a little bit. You can see here from Brett Siegel as well. I said keep an eye on Rocco Sikarsky, a 7'3" Aussie big man for the Lakers if he's available at pick 45. You'd assume he's available at pick 45. We had a video on him a while ago, a few months ago actually, kind of zeroing in on him for the draft and things, and maybe even sign him. He declared for the NBA draft. I don't think he's going to be someone he might not even get drafted entirely. Like, he was someone the Lakers were zeroing in on with the 55th pick, let alone the 45th pick. And I think that's kind of the big, difference here now is that Ryan Kalkbrenner, he has been established at the college level. He's going to be able to be a contributor, whereas Rocco Sikarsky doesn't have great stats overseas. He averaged like 4 points a game or something like that, but he's 7'3" and obviously has the intangibles that you would want in a flyer. But at the 45th overall pick, yes, it's still a flyer, but you're kind of trading up for your guy. And I don't think at this point, unless they really like Rocco Sikarsky, which is possible, I really think they're striving for something higher and they have someone narrowed down that they're going to be looking at. But again, they might have to trade up further, hope someone drops. Again, we saw Ace Bailey drop to the Jazz at 5. We saw Malwatch drop, past the Raptors. They went ahead and chose somebody different, which is also interesting there. Like, a lot of centers are remaining. I covered it in the video yesterday. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But Ryan Kalkbrenner, an absolute, beast last season in his senior year. And hopefully he can translate that and be a beast at the NBA level. That'll wrap it up. Let us know down below what your thoughts are. A bunch of new reports coming. The Lakers are positioned to draft 7'2" center Ryan Kalkbrenner. And we'll keep you up to date with all the latest news. As soon as the pick drops, we'll have a video. So make sure to stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.